Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I'm Amina Shifa and my matric number is A24AI0015. Okay, I will now present our members of the group. The first one is Amira Yasmin. Her matric number is A24AI0097. The second members is one Alif Daniel bin one Kamarul Farid. His matric number is A24AI0093. The third member is Farin Batrisha binti Saiful Nizam. Her matric number is A24AI0030. The fifth one is Siti Norbakis binti Yuslimi. The matric number is A24AI0090. The last one is Nurul Ain binti Osman. Matric number is A24AI0079. Okay, we total have 6 members, and the next slide Farin Batrisha will present about the introduction of our project. It's all for the first topic project. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
The dataset of topic 3 examines whether listening to music while studying influence student concentration level. The dataset provided by the instructor that contain 50 pair observation representing individual student concentration score recorded both before and after music listening while studying. Each record include a unique student ID, a pre-music concentration, and a post-music concentration. In topic 3 dataset, there is no missing value were found. The box plot, we see that after score are higher than before and whether there are outlier. So here is the missing value check. So here is the outlier. The box plot compares student concentration score before and after listening to music. The blue box represents the pre-music concentration score, while the orange box represents the post-music concentration score. From the plot, it is evident that the median and mean of the post-music score are higher than those of the pre-music score, indicating an overall improvement in concentration after listening to music. Additionally, one mild outlier is visible in the post-music group, which is displayed as a 2, suggesting that one student had an unusual low concentration score even after listening to music. However, this outlier is retained in the analysis as it reflects natural variation among individual response. Overall, the box plot suggests that listening to music may positively impact student concentration level. So that's all from me. Thank you. Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farin Batrisha binti Saiful Nizam and my matric number is A24AI0030. And today I will present to you the introduction and the dataset of topic 3. The introduction is, in the modern academic environment, students frequently explore different methods to improve their focus and increase their study performance. Listening to music while studying is a common technique as it is believed to improve focus and provide a more improving learning environment. The purpose of this study is to investigate whether music truly increases focus during study season. This research provides data-informed results on the potential benefit or drawback of listening to music by comparing student concentration score before and after a music listening season. The findings aim to clarify whether music as an effective study aid or a potential distraction.
Hi, my name is Juan Alice, and I will present for the non-parametric statistical test part on this presentation. The null hypothesis claims there is no difference between pre-music concentration scores and post-music concentration scores, but the alternative hypothesis claims there is slightly difference between pre-music concentration scores and post-music concentration score. So we decide to choose Wilcoxon test on this case because we want to find the difference between two dependent groups. And then we execute the Wilcoxon test on the SPSS and get this result, the ranks table and test statistic table. According to ranks table, we can see that the positive rank sum of rank has a big value than the has a bigger value than the negative ranks. So it shows that the effect of after listening to music it increase the concentration. And then for the test statistic table, we can see that the p-value is much smaller than the significant value, which is 0.001, and the significance value is 0.05. So we decide that we can reject the null hypothesis and claim that there is slightly difference between pre-music concentration scores and post-music concentration scores.
Okay, now we go on to the conclusion. Okay, my name is Amina and I will explain about the conclusion from this topic. Okay, this study is set out to examine whether listening to the music has a measurable effect on student concentration during study session. Okay. From the data set, we use a paired concentration score from 50 students which we record before and after a music listening session. Okay, from this we have a finding that provides strong evidence that music can actually enhance focus for the student study. Okay, from the dataset preparation, there's no missing value detected, and we use a box plot analysis to search the outliers. From the box plot analysis, there's an indication a notable increase in both the median and the mean in the concentration scores after listening to the music. Although we actually managed to find one mild outliers, uh, these outliers we detected in the post music score, which we decide to keep it in the data set. It was retained in the analysis as it actually reflect a individual and realistic individual variation. Okay. Okay, now we go to the hypothesis. We have a null hypothesis, which is there is no difference between the pre-music concentration score and the post-music concentration score. For the alternative hypothesis, there is a slight difference between the pre-music and the post-music concentration score. Okay, to statically validate the hypothesis, we use Wilcoxon rank test. We use this Wilcoxon sign rank test in the IBM SPSS. Okay, from this test, the result reveal a significant difference between the pre and the post music. Okay, we have the Z score which equal to negative 4.904, and we have the p value which is smaller than 0.001. Okay, from this value that we get, it lead to the rejection of the null hypothesis that the null hypothesis is there's no difference between the pre and the post music. Okay, so this confirm that listening to music has a positive and statistically significant impact on the concentration. Listening to the music while study appear to improve student concentration, making it a potentially effective and accessible tool for enhancing academic focus. Okay, that's the conclusion for our topic 3, which is listening to music is actually better for focus in studying. Okay, that's all.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. So my name is Amira. So I'm going to explain about the topic. Are students more likely to choose group study over solo study? Okay, so for the introduction, in any learning environments, understand student study preference is important. This can help educators design more effective learning strategies. Our problem statement is there any statistically significant preference for group study compared to solo study among students? So we also hypothesize that students are equally likely to choose either options. 50-50 preference to test this, we use approach statistical methods. So for next, I'm going to explain about data set description. So we gather data from 75 students and got their study preference. And this variable we analyze its study preference, which has two categories, group and a solo study. So here that we found 55 students are 73.3% preferred group study, and only 30 students are 26.7% preferred solo study. So for the next, I'm going to explain about data preparations. So before conducting our tests, we checked the data quality. So there were no missing value. Every student provided an answer. And since the data is categorical, there were no outliers to remove. So this allowed us to proceed directly to the hypothesis testing pass. So next, I'm going to explain about the statistical test summary. So we ran a statistical test to see if the observation performance was linear percent different from 50%. Here are the key results. As you can see, test statistic is 20, standard error is 4.330, standard test statistic is negative 3.926, and p-value less than 0.001. So this very small p-value indicates that the difference in the preference is statistically significant. So for the last one, I'm going to say that based on the test value, we reject the null hypothesis. So this means students are significantly more likely to prefer group study over studying alone. So this insight could be useful for educators and learning program designers who want to promote more collaborative learning experience. Thank you. So for the next, I'm going to explain about data preparations. So before conducting our tests, we checked the data quality. So there were no missing value. Every student provided an answer. And since the data is categorical, there were no outliers to remove. So this allowed us to proceed directly to the hypothesis testing pass. So next, I'm going to explain about the statistical test summary. So we ran a statistical test to see if the observation performance was linear percent different from 50%. Here are the key results. As you can see, test statistic is 20, standard error is 4.330, standard test statistic is negative 3.926, and p-value less than 0.001. So this very small p-value indicates that the difference in the preference is statistically significant. So for the last one, I'm going to say that based on the test value, we reject the null hypothesis. So this means students are significantly more likely to prefer group study over studying alone. So this insight could be useful for educators and learning program designers who want to promote more collaborative learning experience. Thank you.
Here is the one sample chi-square test summary. As you can see from the previous hypothesis test summary, in here it's also just the same, like the chi-square statistic is 60.333 with a p-value less than 0.001. Since the p-value is less than the 0.05, like I mentioned before, we reject the null hypothesis. This means that the difference in student preference is statistically significant. Most students prefer to do group study than expected under the assumption of equal preference that we start off. Okay, there are two charts that we can see here. The first bar chart shows the actual number of students who prefer group or solo study. Out of 75 students, a majority, which is 55 of them, prefer studying in a group, while only 20 students only prefer to study solo. In the second chart, we compare the actual preference of students with what we would expect if there were no strong preference between group and solo study. As you can see here, the maroon color chart, the maroon color bar represent the expected values, which is the 50-50, like 37.5 students. But the blue bars represent the observed number of students, so like the real number of students. So here you can see in the group there are 55 students who prefer group, and over here you may not see it very well, because if you can see in the y-axis here, the starting number is 20, and the observed for solo students are exactly 20, so we can't really see the blue bar over here, but it is there. So as you can see here, the observed data show a very significant difference from the expected values. So from here we can see that the observed data show a very significant difference from the expected value. Much more students prefer group study than what was we hypothesized. Okay, next is to conduct the non-parametric statistical test. For this topic, we choose chi-square goodness of fit because it is the most suitable for this topic and for the sample. We use the chi-square goodness of fit test because we are analyzing one categorical variable only, and that is the study preference, because the study preference have group and solo. Our goal is to test whether these two options are equally preferred or whether the students show a statistically significant preference for one. The first step is to import the data into the IBS and then click Analyze and then non-parametric test and then choose one sample. And then we can move the study preference to the test fields. And then under the settings, we can select Customize Test and then check the chi-square test. Here, as you can see, is the hypothesis test summary. From here, you can see that the p-value is less than 0.001. Since the p-value is less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis.
So for conclusion, this study examines whether students are more likely to prefer group study over solo study. Based on the responses from 75 students, the results indicated a clear preference for group study, with 73.3% choosing it over studying alone. The dataset had no missing values and data was categorical, so no outliers were removed. A chi-square goodness of fit test was conducted to determine whether the observed preference was statistically significant. The results show a significant difference from the expected 50-50 distribution, indicating that the preference for group study was not due to chances. Overall, the findings suggest that students significantly prefer group study over solo study, making it a potential more effective and engaging approach for academic environments.
Okay, now I will talk about the preference we use for our project. First, we use Palin J from 2020. It was SPSS Survival Manual. it was a beginner-friendly guide for SPSS user. The second reference is Bremen A, which is a social research method. This one, the Bremen is to provide context on hypothesis testing and survey-based data. The third reference that we use is from IBM Corp 2022. This was an IBM SPSS statistic for Windows. This one, the IBM one is actually was an official software citation, so that we can actually use for manual to use the SPSS. Okay, the fourth one was a Field A 2018. It was discovering statistics using IBM SPSS. The Field A was a comprehensive reference for SPSS analysis, including binomial tests. This one we try to use for the topic 9. Okay, the last reference that we use is Creswell JW and Creswell JD. The Creswell reference on research design, qualitative, quantitative, and research method approach. The Creswell is useful for designing survey and quantitative, like the topic that we use. Okay, that's all the reference that we use.